Hello and welcome to Hedera Forum. We're happy to have you back. We've just taken a short break since our last episode with Scott Teal of DLA Piper, and we're happy to be here with you today. Some really exciting movement in price action over the past 24 to 48 hours, and we thought it would be nice to jump on and connect with the community and review some news and the recent price action, of course. And as always, I'm happy to welcome in Brandon with the Monetary Reset and Hedera Forum. Hey, Brandon, how's it going, man?
Pretty good, pretty good. I got my gear on, ready to go. This is an exclusive T-shirt. I'd have to check with Manon, but I think there's only about 10 of them in existence. But I promise you that just because I'm wearing a HODL T-shirt, unlike what happened there with Litecoin, I'm not going to be dumping any HBAR, that's for sure.
That's a good look, man. That's a sharp T right there. Nice work for, is that one of the designs from Extra Hardcore HBAR, I think?
That's right. This is, again, a Thomas design there, and Manon liked it, so he had a few T-shirts made up.
He's got some beautiful graphics, by the way. He's done a lot of really good work for the community, so thanks for that. If you guys see these really cool logos floating around, it's more than likely it's his work.
Yep, the one over my shoulder as well. Right here.
Yeah,
that one's one of his as well.
All right, so a lot to get to. I think we should, just like the thumbnail we're looking at here, everyone wants to know about price. We've obviously had a huge spike here. Let's take a look at some charts, Brandon. All right, so this first chart, why don't you take us through this one, Brandon?
Yeah, well, first to start off, we aren't professional traders. This is commentary, not analysis. So, if there are any professional traders out there and we get some stuff wrong, don't be too hard on us. But of course, with the run up we've had, and we're going to take a look at some of those charts here in a minute. We're wondering where could it pull back to, and a potential place it could come back to is the Google spike high that happened all the way back in February of last year, and that was about 11.3 cents. But let's get into the good stuff.
Yeah, and that Google spike, I mean, that was like a momentary blip. I think we've already held some duration here, 10 cents and above. So
yeah,
I see that as kind of an aberration. But all right, so here's a recent chart here. Why don't you walk us through this, Brandon? What do you see here?
Yeah, well, I mean, we had an uptrend. You see there on the right side, we had an uptrend, but we pretty much completely broke out after we broke some resistance. And that's going to become support as well. But you saw that right there, just under 7 cents. We bumped up against that a few times. And when we broke through that, it just went parabolic. We have some resistance that I would expect around 12 cents. And I think we've bumped up against that a couple times now as well. But 12 cents is important for a couple reasons. Number one, that was one of the places where SAFT 3A invested. It's less relevant from a fundamental standpoint because there is that bonus program, so their cost basis has come down a little bit, but it does have some psychological significance, and it has gotten tested a couple times here, and we're bouncing right now right around 11.5. So I think that 12-cent level is going to be important for us.
Yeah, actually, it's weird, and I'm not taking credit for sort of looking forward on this, but probably about an hour before that this thing started taking off, I posted in the Telegram chat that I thought that SAFT 3 price of 12 cents would be a really good price target. And I think it's a little bit more fundamental in that, the Prism Group, who Hedera retained initially to do some tokenomics there, they arrived at that price somehow. And I think a lot of time and effort was spent on arriving at that price. And so obviously they're projecting usage and trying to make sense of it. So I said, I think 12 cents is probably a pretty good near-term target for me, just knowing that the effort that went into that study. And I know the market didn't really react that well right away upon open access. And, there could be a million reasons for that. But I think you and I are in the camp and have been sort of discussing maybe the market's a little slow here. So good to see it catching up here a little bit.
Yeah, and once we get above that 12 cents, that first day that it came on the market, there were some prints above 12 cents, but it wasn't really relevant. There was no volume up there. It just dropped, straight down. So once we get above that 12-cent mark, it will be in a new price discovery mode. We won't really have much resistance. If we do hold above that 12 cents, it will become support. But we'll have to see what it looks like. But, we have to start focusing on other things like Fibonacci levels and things like that once we break out past 12.
Yeah, let's take a look at that. You mentioned that I don't think either of us are active traders or anything, so familiar with the charts, but not on a sort of daily level of grinding on charts and making trades based on daily movements or anything like that. But what do you see here with the Fibonacci?
So we had the prior high, which was right there around 6.8 cents. And then you go back to your prior low, and that can kind of give you some ranges for Fibonacci extensions. And, we broke above that. We broke above the first level there at 1.61 and blew past that and, came up and tested 12 cents or close to it. I think we got up to 11.6 yesterday. And then it pulled back down, and not surprisingly, it kind of found support there at that Fibonacci level. And you see it bounced there a few times. And then this morning, I think probably helped out a little with the Mike Maloney episode. We started to run back up, and it kind of tested that next Fibonacci level, which happens to be at 11.75 cents. So we have a few things kind of converging right around that 12-cent mark, where we're going to find some resistance. But hopefully we can break through here eventually.
Yeah, and at a minimum, I hope that if we can sustain even that level and kind of set a new floor there to start building off of, and we trade sideways for a while, I'm fine with that.
Sure.
We know that there's news coming out. We know that there are the NDAs that are out there. Manson Lehman told us as much right here on this forum. We don't know how many there are. I mean, we know there's a lot of them. So there's clearly a lot of work going on behind the scenes. You mentioned the gold and silver video with Mike Maloney today. We'll talk about that a little later, but if anyone had a chance to watch that, again, you sense the enthusiasm and the restraint as Mance is sort of discussing some of the things that they might be working on without having the ability to address them directly. So, which he's very good at, by the way.
Sure. And I mean, we do have some things, actually just next week, I think Coupon Bureau is going to be going live and starting to put transactions on the network. And we know that can add thousands of transactions per second. Of course, they're probably going to start out slow, but even a few dozen transactions per second can double our transaction count.
Yeah, a lot of proof of concepts getting underway, FPOS, Coupon Bureau, all of these things sort of getting started, and hopefully onward and upward as we move ahead. All right, this is something I was talking about with a friend of mine today. I'll give a shout out to Phil here. He'll be watching this. Brandon, why don't you tell us a little bit about this program that you have on the monetaryreset.com?
So, I'm not going to get too in depth. It is a little personal plug, but it's something that I've used for Hedera. I've used it for other cryptocurrency investing. I've used it for silver. I've used it for stocks. And I call it the dynamic investment program. It's a simple Excel program. And it's kind of like dollar cost averaging, but, souped up a little bit as the price when you are buying, as the price goes down, you buy more. And as the price goes up, you buy less. It's pretty simple. But it also has a sell section. So this is going to be a good tool for anybody who is getting involved right now and thinking about buying, because it is going to be very volatile, and that's what this is designed for very volatile assets. So it's good for getting involved and starting to buy. It's also good for selling. There's a sell section. So again, as the price goes up, you sell more. As the price comes down, you sell less when you are in your sell range, and you define all that. And then, of course, if you drop back down into your purchase range, as it drops down further, you buy more. If it goes up higher, you buy less. It's fairly simple. It's fully explained in these videos here. You can find it at themonetaryreset.com. It is just a simple Excel program. So remember that it's just a tool. Consult your financial advisor. This isn't financial advice. Being an Excel program, it can get corrupted. The cells can go wrong. So you have to make sure everything's working correctly if you are going to use it. I'm not going to take any responsibility if you are using it. So, but either way, check it out, and you can kind of get your head wrapped around how it works.
Yeah, I like the moral of the story there. I mean, be aggressive when things don't look good. Be greedy when others are fearful, right?
That's
And the other side as well. So good
and that's all it
sound
does.
advice.
It just adds some structure around that. And when I've followed it in the past, the only times I get frustrated is when I don't follow it, when I try to outsmart it. Generally, it's worked a lot better if I just blindly follow what it tells me to do. I set it and kind of forget it.
Yeah. So are you the type of guy who likes to leave your orders open, or do you kind of spot trade as you're able to if you like the way things are looking? Or
I mean, if I think that it's going to come up and hit my buy or come down and hit my sell, I will set it below or above the market, depending if I'm buying or selling. But I make sure that if it says to sell on this day, or if it says to buy on this day, I do that. I follow it.
yeah, very cool. I've checked it out. I think it's a really good resource. So and it's free as well. But I also, guys, notice the tip side over there, the QR code. Help Brandon out, and yeah. All right, so this is Blocktivity.info. And this is sort of the theme of Hedera and what we've been discussing and why I think that that the price is rising and will continue to rise. And that's based on adoption and usage and real world use cases. And you can see here, if you look at the transaction volumes here, Hedera is right on top, 24-hour transaction volume, over 4 million. And they continue to top these lists. So what do you make of this, Brandon?
Yeah, so I mentioned this in the last HBAR bull case video. I just put one out a few days ago, that we are the network with the most transaction volume. But I really do think this is just the beginning. Even though we are the platform with the most transaction volume, I think that's only going to increase significantly once we start to get some of these other use cases online, like the Coupon Bureau and all the other ones that we don't know about yet. But they're all going to ramp up, and it's just going to go through the roof. And of course, that all means fee revenue and generation that Hedera can use to build a network, to reward nodes, to reward token holders, and so forth.
Yeah, it's great to see. I'm still not sure how. I don't know where we are on coin market cap, but maybe in the 60 range or something last time I checked. It baffles me how that can be the case when clearly I don't follow all the projects in the space as closely, but there's just a lot going on with Hedera. A lot of news, a lot of announcements, a lot of stuff yet to come, and the usage is there. So
I think that market cap's going to resolve in the months to come.
It is the year of scale, right?
That's right.
To quote Mance and Lehman. So we'll see. Like I said, a lot of these things are proof of concept stage right now. Some of them probably in the ideation stage. Some probably moving along even further behind the scenes. I have a feeling maybe there's some that are ready to come out of stealth. I hope that's the case, and I hope that it will be announcements from council members who have been actively building. So we'll see. Here's a cool piece of news that came out this week. In the UK, there is a company called Everyware, W-A-R-E, who is in the business, among other things, of tracking supply chain for medicines, specifically medicines that need to be maintained at a certain temperature, and they're talking about now implementing this with the COVID vaccine, which is obviously a major sort of global use case now. I thought this was really encouraging because it kind of came out of nowhere, and also, it's just something that affects. I know this is in the UK, but Everywhere is a company that's already doing this, so it's not really that they're spinning this up. They already do this for other medications, and they already have the partnerships in place. So I thought this was a really cool announcement. What do you think of this, Brandon?
Oh, it's exciting. There's no question about it. I wish I had waited a couple days for the bull case video, because I highlighted 16 or 18 different use cases, and this one would have been a great one to highlight as well. But one good thing is one of our community members, Tom S., you might have seen him on the Hedera chat. He's willing to come on the Hedera Forum possibly next week, so it'll be fun to hear exactly what he has. So
cool.
Certainly should be good to look at.
Look forward to speaking with you, Tom. Yeah, I've seen him around Twitter and in the Telegram chat. So what's up, Tom? All right, here's another piece of news. This just started, yesterday, I think. So the Hedera 21 virtual hackathon is underway, specializing around the new tokenization service. And yeah, this will be interesting to see what comes from this. I know we're still working on getting a few of the Hedera 20 hackathon folks to come on the program. Humankind was one that I've been in communication with, and I'm still, I need to reach out to them again. Prizes, 79,000. That seems really healthy in the space based on what I've seen.
And it seems like it's going up. Didn't it start out at 35,000 and
it did,
it's going up all the time?
I think the 35 was the sort of Hedera contribution, and then I might be mistaken, but I think the above and beyond is all of the sponsors and judges and whoever else is contributing. But yeah, a lot of good prizes here for developers in the space. So really looking forward to seeing what comes of this. Here's a look at the judges, and a lot of speculation around a few names on this panel. We'll highlight a few of them here. There's two in particular that stood out to me. Should say hello to Jeff Chui with BCW Group. Hey, Jeff, he was on last week, and Kyle Barron, who was on maybe last year sometime, as well as Scott Teal down here on the bottom with DLA, who was also on. So hello to all those guys. And here's one name that kind of stands out, Jonathan Padilla, who is head of blockchain strategy at PayPal. And so that's pretty cool to see. And Hedera actually tweeted this out, which is a cool graphic. So interesting to see the PayPal logo there just below the Hedera logo. No official announcement or anything. Not really sure what the capacity is, other than that he will be a judge. So what do you make of this, Brandon?
Well, I'll be honest. I think that some of these judges joining the hackathon may have something to do with the run up in the price. We don't know what PayPal's involvement beyond their head of blockchain strategy being one of the judges for the hackathon, but we can certainly we have to wonder about what that means. Does that mean that they're a potential council member? Does that mean that they're going to be using use cases? Does that mean that they're going to do a possible stable coin, a PayPal stable coin? All those things are possibilities. We don't know what it's going to be, but I don't think he's a judge for fun. I think he's doing it because PayPal has a interest in Hedera. Hopefully that'll come to light here in the weeks and months to come.
Yeah, that was my takeaway as well. I don't want to read too much into it or sensationalize anything about it, but for the head of blockchain strategy at PayPal to be taking time to do something like this, I mean, clearly they have an interest in Hedera. And I don't know, maybe he's involved in other projects as well. I don't know, but I'd find it hard to believe that he's spreading time around between too many projects. So it says a lot to me, just that he's taking the time to be there and obviously has an interest in it.
No question.
Another name on this list that I saw before, I think there was somebody from Pfizer on here as well, wasn't there?
Yeah, just two below John there, Michael Koo.
Yep, right there. So, you know, we just talked about the Everywhere and NHS partnership, and they're building on Hedera to track the vaccines over in the UK. So, you know, maybe a nice connection there. I think certainly Pfizer's been in the news and might have an interest in distributed ledger tech. So very cool to see that as well. No other announcements around Pfizer that I'm aware of, other than they show up here on the judges panel. Yeah,
that's pretty much it. So the interestingest thing is, you know, we have people and we know what their connection is to Hedera. We have Antonia Bogo. She's one of the, of course, Google is one of the council members. We have Scott Teal and DLA Piper is one of the council members. We have Rob Allen and his connections through Entrust and FTPOS.
Hey, Rob.
Yeah, hey, Rob.
Sharky Rob.
That's right.
The man.
But, you know, we know what their involvement is. You have to think that, you know, Pfizer has some other connection, whether that's a council member, whether that's a use case. So just like with John Padilla with PayPal, we can't help but speculate, right?
Yeah, especially when all of the other judges are essentially council members for the most part, or building something that's known like FPOS or something. I mean, every other one on here is, you know, aside from Helen Disney, I guess, but I remember, I think she spoke at the launch back in New York in 2018. So I know she's been connected with the project, and she's kind of a well-known figure in the space. But yeah, everyone else on this list is either has a project, and probably 70% of them are council members. So
yeah, we have Joshua up there with WePro, and I encourage anybody go check out that HBAR bull case video, and we have a couple minute audio clip of somebody from WePro talking about their use cases, and there's got to be a dozen that they're building or thinking about building for customers. So anybody who thinks that council members aren't building on Hedera, they need to think twice, because they certainly are.
Yeah, I remember hearing that. I think you're right. I think he maybe said 13 or 16 folks that they're in discussions with now and counseling them. So very cool to see. Yeah, it's a nice logo. I like the way that PayPal logo looks next to the H up there. All right, snap back to reality here. With all the positive price action over the last few days, which everyone's thrilled about it. I think it's great, but because we are sort of I think in debt to the community, and this is a podcast that is produced by the community, and I think it's important that we mention this. And I know you brought this up in the Telegram chat maybe yesterday or the day before, and this is available right on the Hedera website. And this outlines the HBAR distribution report for early investors and SAFT investors. And you can see here on January 22nd, roughly 170 million HBAR set to be distributed. So there's something to keep in mind as you're making decisions out there.
So just like, with other platforms, Hedera is very young, and their circulating supply to total supply is fairly low. Usually, or in a lot of other platforms, that was a good time to invest, because there's uncertainty around what that additional supply is going to do. But we do have on the 22nd or 23rd, depending on your time zone, there's going to be a distribution. We have seen pressure in the past on the price with those distributions. It's been less so recently, but I think one of the reasons for that is because buyers were very familiar with the HBAR market. They knew these distributions were coming, and when they would come, they would hold capital off until afterwards to try to take advantage. And that pretty much negated a lot of the downside movement. But a lot of the buyers that we have now are new to the market, and they might not be aware of this, and they might not be holding some capital off. So it'd be a good idea to possibly, not investment advice, but to hold some capital to after, and then maybe take advantage. Dollar cost average, use your DIP program, things like that. Mm-hmm. You don't want to go all in at once. You don't want to completely FOMO. One thing though, where with buyers, the FOMO leads to buying. Some of these SAFT investors, FOMO may prevent selling, right? Because they're getting excited about the network as well. So we'll see what happens, but full transparency, wanted to let everybody know that this weekend there is going to be a distribution.
Yep, full transparency. Here it is. Check it out on the website. Past distributions are also highlighted here, so feel free to check out the past distributions. They're on the same schedule every month, and you can look at historically how things have gone. But yeah, things seem to be changing a little bit. I mean, seems to be a lot more interest, a lot more coverage around Hedera. So who knows? Anyone's guess. All right, so this is Kabuto. If anyone's not familiar with this is an explorer that allows you to essentially review anything, transactions, contracts, files, topics, contracts, tokens, all of the services on Hedera, and it kind of shows you what's going on. There's pretty current price there, just above 11 cents. And this is another one that many folks might be familiar with, Dragonglass. I like them both. Dragonglass has the nice graphics here on the side that kind of give you a sense of the volume here. And
I do like that transaction volume trend. Look at that. And I mean, that one for January, that just covers the first 2/3 of the month, right? So we're already well above December, and we still have 10 days to go.
Yeah, it's incredible. And we've seen, where are the total accounts here? Over 102,000 now. I remember we reviewed this in an earlier video. I don't remember where it was at, but It's grown significantly since then. Also, the total transactions, 500 million, and blew right past that. We should look back at that video. I wonder where it was at the time.
Yeah, I'd have to find it.
But let's see here. And this will be the last thing we have for you guys today. This was a video that was just released today from Mike Maloney of Gold and Silver. And a lot of folks are familiar. Maybe they were turned on to the project initially about 3 years ago. They had that beautiful animated video that he did. I don't know. I don't remember the title. Something like From Bitcoin and Beyond to Hashgraph or something like that. But you can find it on his channel here. I know a lot of people were introduced to Hashgraph through that channel, and it had been, I think, 3 years or so since Mike had updated Hedera's progress and sort of updated the developments there, and he had Mance Harmon on today, and highly recommend watching the video. I watched it this afternoon. Brandon, did you get a chance to watch that video?
I did. It was an excellent video. You know, we had been wondering if he would ever put anything out on Hashgraph again. Obviously, he hasn't abandoned Hashgraph, and he's still very excited about it. But I think this is another one of the reasons, in addition to the judges, that we are seeing some interest in Hedera, is these influencers are putting the dots together, or in Mike's case, he already had everything together, but he's getting involved again. And I mean, Mike has over 600,000 subscribers. So that certainly gets it in front of a lot of people. And I've seen Twitter influencers tweeting about it, traders, things like that, you know, with hundreds of thousands of followers. So I think people are just putting these breadcrumbs together, putting these dots together, and learning that behind Hedera, there's an awful lot of substance.
Absolutely. Well, that's about all I have for today. Anything else you want to add, Brandon?
No, I think that's about it. It's been a fun ride. I appreciate everybody watching us over the past year. We'll try to stay with you and keep you up to date.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much, and we'll see you on the next one.
See you guys.